That was good, man. Dryhead Lou got another reaction. Mr. Nightmare 3 chilling true Blizzard horror stories. I don't know where he be getting these stories from, but they be fire. Like, I don't even like the cold. I ain't gonna lie. Like, summer be the best. Summer the best season for real. Like, I don't get how people like the winter going sledding and all that. Like, how you like being cold? I'd much rather be hot than cold. Like, and
My
I
friend
was
Carlos
born
and
in
I
the
would
winter
always
too.
go
That's the
out
crazy
shoveling
part.
people's sidewalks after big snowstorms to make
See
some
what they
quick
talking about
cash.
though. Better not
We
be.
like
He better not be talking about nobody was walking in the blizzard, cause that's crazy. Or driving. Well, some people might have to drive, like, but
2013 or 2014, our town was in the midst of a blizzard. It was dark, windy, and snow was building up fast. Our school already announced it would be closed due to snow the next day. So with nothing to do that night,
I used to love them days.
and it being only like 8 p.m., we went out with our shovels and started ringing doorbells, offering to shovel sidewalks for cash. We got a lot of no's before we got our first yes. We made around $15 each on our first house. We made our way across the neighborhood. A lot of people weren't interested, and most people just wouldn't open their doors.
I know I wouldn't. Somebody come knocking at my door in the blizzard, like I'm not opening the door. I'm in there chilling.
We got a second house eventually, and made a little more money on that one. Then I remember a long gap between that house and the next house that would say yes. It was a small corner house, but usually corner houses would pay more. We rang the bell, and the door cracked open, but whoever was on the other side didn't show their face. They did, however, speak from the other side. A deep man's voice said, "Who's there?" I pitched our snow shoveling service to the man on the other side, requesting $40 in return since it was a corner house. There was a short silence. Then the voice on the other side said, "Oh yes, yes, please, $40 is fine." There was a hint of nervousness in the voice. I said all right, and then the door shut.
I ain't gonna lie, they kind of taxing now. They said they got 15 for the other houses. Now they trying to charge 40 for this one. Them boys taxing now.
I
I would have
didn't
said like, nah. Alright, so look, it also alright. You right. It depends on like how big their driveway is and how much you got to shovel for real. But I was about to say like 2025 be decent.
see a man's
Every
face at
house.
all. I turned to Carlos and said that was weird. But we started the shoveling. I started from the front porch down the walkway to the driveway.
You should have went with your first instinct. Soon as you said that was where it leave.
Carlos worked on the sidewalks. I couldn't help but stare at the house every once in a while. And at one point, when I turned to a window as I was throwing the snow from my shovel onto the ground, I saw who I assumed to be the homeowner. He was standing at one of the windows, watching me. Could I see anything of his face? Not really. He was standing in a dark room. A little uncomfortable it made me, but I tried my best to ignore it and continue shoveling. Of course, I'd occasionally glance back, and he would still be there.
You really should have left right there. He just sitting there
Eventually, I
looking at you
finished the
in
driveway,
the
just
dark
around the
room.
same time Carlos finished the sidewalks.
Like what?
So we started our way back up the walkway to the front stoop. But before getting to the stoop, the door opened, and the man inside shouted, "Go around back."
Nah, man. Nope. Go on back. Why you can't give me the money through the front door? See, look, instantly you supposed to be going by now. Like, leave.
Carlos and I froze, looked at each other, then
Look, watch. He about to say that he. I guarantee you, he about to say that he still went back there. Watch.
shouted, "Go around back." Carlos and I froze, looked at each other, then obeyed his command. We stepped through the snow-covered grass
He
to the
said he
backyard
obeyed
gate.
his command.
I opened it and pushed it through the rising snow, which was slightly difficult.
But he said he opened the gate.
I obeyed his command. We stepped through the snow-covered grass to the backyard gate.
Bro,
I opened it and pushed it through the rising snow, which was slightly difficult. Then, there we were, in the man's backyard, which had a small awning that we stayed under to get out from the falling snow.
you gotta be
We
slow.
waited by the back,
How old they said they was? Like, I don't, bro.
expecting him to come outside eventually with our money. We waited for over a minute and started getting antsy. I started pounding on the back door since there didn't seem to be a doorbell. Then there was the sound of a window being rotated open, followed by the man's voice again, saying, "Come inside." Carlos and I
Come on, bro. Don't tell me they really about to go inside. I guarantee you they is.
looked at each other again, and then I led the way in through the back door.
Oh my god,
All the
bro.
lights in this house were turned off. It was actually so hard to see anything, really.
He really walked
"Hello?"
inside?
I said. I heard a man's voice from another room call, "I'm counting your money on the table." It seemed he was inside the kitchen, which was connected by a small door
Oh
through the room we
god.
entered from.
They gotta be
We
young,
walked
bro.
closer to the kitchen, which appeared to be lit up through the window only by the streetlights standing on the side of the house. I stood at the doorway, intending on looking through the crack of the door to see where the guy was standing in the kitchen, but I couldn't see through the crack because it was blocked by him. The man was standing on the other side of the door, looking through the crack. I turned and pretended I didn't see him. I made up some bull, like telling Carlos we forgot something outside. We left the house, and the man didn't say a word. As soon as we got outside, we grabbed our shovels and sprinted away from there. All
Oh yeah. They shouldn't even have gone that far, bro. You got so many signs. You pull up to the house. He first answered the door. He not showing his face. He sound nervous when he say yeah. The part where you should have left, like for sure, like when you say you kept turning around. He just sitting there looking at y'all. Dark room, watching y'all shovel. And then when he said go around back, like come on, bro, how you that slow? And they actually went into the house. They gotta be young.
our
There
hard
ain't no
work
way.
shoveling that house was for nothing. We got back to my backyard, put the shovels away, and went inside to warm up and rest for a little bit. Carlos and I chilled for a little bit. Then it was time for him to go. He went out the back to get his shovel, but he came back inside, concerned, telling me to come take a look at something. There was an extra, fresh set of boot marks in the snow. You may ask how we knew. That's because one set trailed from the gate to the back door to the shed in the corner of our backyard. Carlos hurried back inside, and we told my mom. We live in a very poor, relatively unsafe neighborhood, so my mom was quick to believe us and get 911 on the phone.
Yeah.
Police showed up relatively quickly considering the horrible driving conditions, and they went to investigate the shed. Carlos, my mom, and I watched through the back window as the police pulled out a man from the shed. He had a matching shirt from what I could see through the window back when we were shoveling that property. It was undoubtedly the house owner.
Yeah, he done followed
He
y'all.
later admitted to police that he was going to attempt to break into the house when we all went to sleep. Why, however, he never answered. Police also said he was very intoxicated when he admitted this, which made me think, what on earth was he going to do to us in that kitchen if we didn't leave his house?
That's crazy. They shouldn't have gone that far. I ain't gonna lie. Should have been up. Should have been got up out of there.
It was an early December night, and we were having our first snowstorm of the year. I was in my bed watching some low-budget Christmas film while texting various friends, mostly my friends George and Pat. We used to text in a 3-person group chat. Everything was as it should be when I felt my heart drop to my stomach as a bang came from the window right next to my bed.
For long.
I opened the curtain, but there was no one standing out there. Then, pow, there was another, as I was still looking out the window. It was a snowball. Someone was throwing snowballs at my window. I stood on my bed to get the best possible view out the window, but I didn't see anyone standing out there in the snow. So I actually lifted open my window to call out.
Bro.
It was almost immediately after I shouted out the window that I heard someone's laughter. Not a child's laughter like I was expecting it to be. It was a deeper voice, could belong to anyone from the age of 17 to 40 for all I knew. I shut the window and started texting in our little group chat saying I knew it was one of them messing with me.
Nah.
The fact that they now weren't responding made me even more confident. I didn't close the curtain as I knew whichever one of them it was, they weren't done messing with me. And just like that, another snowball hit my window. I lifted the window up quickly to try and catch them, and there he was standing in the snow, waving to me. But it wasn't either of my friends. It was some guy in a black beanie and black coat with gloves on, laughing. He started approaching the window. I hurried and slammed it shut and twisted the little lock. I also closed the curtains so that he couldn't look into my room. Both of my friends had texted back by now with question mark responses. Then there was a single knock at my window, and it started being fiddled with and shaken. He was trying to lift it open. When it all stopped, I waited a couple minutes before peeking through the curtain. It seemed the coast was clear, so I finally went to go tell my mom and dad about the whole thing, who came to have a look out my window. Sure, my dad believed me. He literally saw the footprints in the snow, but he just didn't see it necessary to call the police, figuring whoever was out there gave up.
Bro, you don't know that. They know where you live. Alright, come on, bro. They come back anytime.
Dad turned on all the outside lights just as a deterrent, and then they went to sleep. I stayed up in my room with the lights off, continuing to watch movies. My door clicked open. I said get out, assuming it was my little brother. The door shut, so it seemed he listened to me. Silence, except for the TV. I watched for a long while, then a click in my wood floor. I turned, halfway through repeating get out in a louder voice, when realizing it was not my short little brother.
Dude broke in? Ain't no way he got in the crib.
It was that tall man in the black beanie and coat from outside.
Wow.
He started waving to me again at the doorway, then put his pointer finger up to his lips. He started walking over to my bed, and that's when I got up, ready to defend myself. He approached faster now, easily grabbed me, and covered my mouth with his leather gloves. There was a wet white towel in his glove that he was pressing to my face for a long time. I tried to break free and scream, but I couldn't, and that was the last thing I remember before everything went.
Yeah, I'm about to say, I already know what that is. Well, I don't, but you said a wet tile. It got like white tile. Probably got like some chemical in it. People be using
Tried to
it.
break free and scream, but I couldn't.
Like
He
make
was
you
pressing
guys
to my
like
face
pass
for
out
a
or
long
something.
time. I tried to break free and scream, but I couldn't, and that was the last thing I remember before everything went black. I woke up in my living room with my parents and police hovering over me. An ambulance arrived shortly. My dad heard the commotion going on in my room and came to find the man over me. My dad, much larger than that man, managed to overpower him, but not long enough before the police could arrive. He ran out the front door and disappeared. I was quickly brought to the hospital. Thankfully, I was all right. If you're wondering, the man climbed in through our downstairs window.
Crazy. Wait, why y'all window not locked?
It's a little-known common courtesy out in the mountains during a snowstorm that if someone's seeking shelter in your cabin, you let them in. No, I wasn't the one offering that courtesy to someone else in the story. I was the one seeking refuge. It was supposed to be a long weekend of hunting, but what started as a cold, sunny day quickly formed tons of dark storm clouds, and I quickly found myself right in the middle of a blizzard. After a full, rather unsuccessful day of hunting hares, I was way too far and disoriented to make my way back to my cabin. I had to seek refuge somewhere else. I came across a log cabin nestled between a circle of trees. No lights on, but I still had to try the door. I hit the door with my fist a few times. No answer, but I could hear footsteps on the other side approaching the door. I expected it to open, but
Get up out of there.
I shouted that I'm lost and need shelter. The door cracked open, and I heard a voice say, "Come in, leave your boots by the door."
Come on, bro.
I waited a bit, expecting him to open the door fully and formally greet me as anyone would, but that didn't happen. So I pushed the door open myself and entered the dark cabin.
Why people do slow stuff like that, bro? Like,
Candles, just enough for me to see the couch that the man then told me to sleep on. As for the man, all I saw was his silhouette on the far side of the room. The little light from the candles didn't extend that far. I dropped my bag and gun on the floor and laid down on the couch.
you were getting comfortable, like.
And for letting me crash here till the storm blows over. He didn't answer. His behavior wasn't the most bizarre thing. Folks are strange up in the mountains. If he wasn't up for conversation, I'd just get some early shut-eye. I closed my eyes, though the level of darkness with my eyes closed wasn't much of a difference. I was subconsciously waiting to hear the man's footsteps leave the room, but they never did. I opened my eyes, and his silhouette was still in the corner of the room, just standing there. I felt the need to say, yeah, I think I'm just gonna get some sleep now.
Wait, what he said? He's
I
still
opened
just
my
acting calm, like everything normal, bro. Like,
and his silhouette was still in the corner of the room, just standing there. I felt the need to say, yeah, I think I'm just gonna get some sleep now, thanks. No response. I turned to my other side so that I wouldn't be tempted to just keep opening my eyes to check on him. Some time passed, but without having heard his footsteps walk away, the curiosity was eating away at me. I turned over to look again, and this time, I swear to God, the silhouette of the man was closer by at least a few feet. I couldn't make out his face, but the slight glow from the candles would just barely trickle around the man's forehead, and what I saw was disgustingly pale skin. I quickly gathered my belongings and thanked him, but I said I had to go. I didn't look at him anymore, because I don't think I wanted to know what he looked like. I put my boots on outside and hurried back into the blizzard. I came across another cabin down the hill, this one with the lights on. I knocked on the door, and some old man and his wife answered the door. They welcomed me in immediately and were very inviting. They gave me some hot tea and offered me a spot on the
I ain't
couch.
going to no random person crib. Like, I don't understand people, bro. Like, then he just sitting there, like, sleeping, like, everything normal. Like, you
I
don't know
told
who
them my
this
story
is.
about the freaky cabin up the hill, and the two looked at each other, puzzled. The woman confirmed 2 times the cabin I was talking about. Then she said, "Honey, the owner of that cabin was murdered 2 years ago. That cabin has been vacant ever since."
Whoa.